lack of hand washing and social distancing disturbs me. It disturbs me. Hey, what's up, all you bull pups and bull puppies out there? This is Mr. Williams. I just wanted to check in with you and kind of give you a brief update on where we're at with everything. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and just keep this on here. This is going to be really quick, really short synopsis of where we're at in terms of history, and I know I've skipped a bunch of stuff. So the last time we were talking about Cold War. Okay, that's essentially the United States and the USSR, or the former Soviet Union, right? Okay, and this belief, this worry that communism was going to spread throughout the country and throughout the other countries in the world and eventually make its way over into America. And so we go on this kind of, they call it the Cold War because it really never really got like heated up in terms of, an actual full-blown war, bombing and killing each other and stuff. But we were at war with each other in terms of the space race, right? Who's going to get to space first? Eventually we did, right? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, okay? And JF Kennedy says, we are going to go to space, okay? And it was a terrible John F. Kennedy impersonation, but anyways, but this whole idea, this belief, okay, that if we don't stop other countries from becoming communism, it's going to create a domino effect, right? A domino effect, and other countries are going to be communists as well. This thing is not fitting, bro. And so we have to kind of stop that. And so we're kind of gearing up arms against Russia, but nothing really happens. And really, it's over a long, extended period of time. We do divide up Germany, okay, into block. We call the Eastern and Western block of Germany, okay. And so basically Germany becomes kind of split in half between, the communists, right, from the Soviet Union, and the non-communists, the Americans on the western side. And there's actually a wall in between Western and Eastern Germany called the Berlin Wall that literally divides communism from, democracy. Eventually that gets taken down by Ronald Reagan during his presidency. Okay, so this leads us into the Vietnam War, right? All of you Call of Duty people out there, right?
Yes. When it arrives, we read it, pull out that record, and play it on the air. Like this one, Fortunate Son by CCR.
Right, we want Black Ops, baby. Black Ops, baby. Call of Duty, right? Okay, so if you play that, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah. Real 100% historically accurate, right? Actually, it does a pretty good job. But anyway, so, couple things with this. Vietnam gets divided between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. The North Vietnam are known as the Viet Cong. Okay, they're the bad guys. They're the communists. The South part of Vietnam, they're going to go through several different coups d'etats. Remember, coups are when they're taken over, either militaristic, right, violently. And so we have a couple leaders that go throughout. I know this is like the really, really brief version of Vietnam. Okay. John F. Kennedy is the president at the start of all this, right? And again, we're worried about Vietnam communism spreading throughout Vietnam and that domino effect happening, okay? So we start to kind of send troops over there. We really want to put in our own leader in Vietnam to make sure that communism doesn't spread in the South Vietnam, okay? Well, eventually, though, 1963, John F. Kennedy is assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. So the vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson, takes over. Okay, now he's in charge. And he's been watching these developments in Vietnam occur. And we actually have some naval vessels over there. And so in the Gulf of Tonkin over in Vietnam, the USS Maddox, a U.S. naval ship, comes into contact with a couple Viet Cong, the bad guys, right? And they fire 3 warning shots at these Viet Cong ships. Well, this turns into a little battle, okay? And word gets back to Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson basically he wants a war with Vietnam, so he uses this as a way to do that. In fact, there's another little skirmish that happens, but Lyndon B. Johnson kind of exaggerates the whole situation and says that a bunch of Americans were killed and stuff. They weren't. And so, as a president, anytime you go to war, you have to have a resolution through the Senate. The Senate has to vote on it. But instead, what Lyndon B. Johnson does is he sets up the Gulf Tonkin Resolution, which basically gave him ultimate power to go over there and do whatever he wanted without the Senate's approval. And so the Vietnam War started without Senate approval, which, again, in the Constitution, you're not supposed to do that, but, Lyndon B. Johnson kind of did what he wanted to. Okay? So, anyways, Vietnam War, okay? Basically, what kind of happens after this, we start to see the United States become more and more involved in Vietnam. And we see the draft occur. Remember, the draft is where they call it conscripted into war. So you're 18 years or older, and the way that they worked this was each month, was given a number. So like January would be 1, and then you would have the year in which you were born. And basically they broadcasted it over the airway on TV. And if they pulled your number, you had to go to war. And so we have a new thing, draft dodgers, for instance, okay? People who some were conscientious objectors, meaning they didn't believe in killing other people, right? So they fled to Canada and things like that. And this becomes kind of a new protest that we haven't seen in America at this point, because a lot of people felt like this war wasn't necessarily something we should be involved in anyways. So that becomes I think I'm looking at my notes here. Really, over time, this becomes a war of attrition, meaning who can outlast the other one. We had the superior technology, but the Vietnamese had a better understanding of the land. They used a tunnel system. They used booby traps and things like that on U.S. troops, and so bodies really started to stack up. We also see the use of new technology in terms of like helicopters. We see it used not only as a way to transport troops, but also new weaponry. They were using rockets on the helicopters, machine guns, things like that, and becomes a new weapon that we really hadn't seen and used even in the Korean War. Okay, there's several different things that you can look up on your own. I'm not going to go into like the Tet Offensive, where the U.S. Embassy was attacked. I'll put a little video in terms of that. The My Lai Massacre was also another thing that really added to the anger of a lot of Americans. There was a lot of misinformation given during the Vietnam War, and really there was a lot of propaganda out there, so misleading things. Like they were saying there weren't as many people dying as there were, but then in America, people are seeing all these coffins coming back and the numbers aren't adding up. Well, the My Lai Massacre, U.S. troops ended up massacring 347 and 504 unarmed women, men, and children. And so the word gets back about this. So, there's things on both sides of this, right? But a lot of people really got to the point where they're just like, this war, right, shouldn't be happening. Think about it in terms of the war in Afghanistan, right? It just kept lingering on and on and on. Okay. Lyndon B. Johnson tried to start peace agreements, but he actually ends up um, losing the election, and Richard Nixon becomes the next president. Nixon is in power. He starts actually taking troops away, but at the same time, also still continuing to bomb the North Vietnam. And eventually, though, we start to withdraw more troops and eventually capture North capitals, Hanoi, for instance. And so finally, this ends with the Paris Peace Accords, and we fully leave Vietnam. Okay. By the time this is all over, the United States drops 7 million tons, 7 million tons of bombs on Vietnam. I'll show a little video on napalm and kind of what that looked like. But the other part of this is Vietnam is completely destroyed. We've bombed the heck out of it and napalmed it, Agent Orange this thing to where the vegetation, there's basically nothing there. So this becomes really one of the highlights in terms of wars and how people, right, begin to, it becomes a movement, right? We're going to see the hippie movement come out of this, that idea of draft dodgers coming out of this, and the idea of people really actually taking part in and caring about politics and wars and things like that. So again, I know this is a really, really brief, take on Vietnam. I'm going to have you do some more stuff, in terms of work and all that, assignments, and I'll post a couple of videos. But again, time-wise, this is all we have, unfortunately. So maybe play a little Call of Duty, and that'll give you a little history too. But okay, thank you very much, everybody. All right, live long and prosper. I know that's Star Trek, but whatever. Okay.